Hi everybody, we're going to take notes on the 7th grade Common Core lesson 6.5. We're talking about percents of increase and decrease and percent of error. So I boxed out two of the formulas that you need to be familiar with. The first one is a percent of increase or decrease. You're taking the new and subtracting it from the original as part of the top number in the ratio, and then the original goes on the bottom. So new subtracted by original over original, and that when you do ahead in the division, you're going to get a decimal, and that decimal then goes ahead and changes to a percent. And then the percent of error, that's going to be the amount of error over the actual. And then when you do the division again, that'll give you a decimal, in which you'll then change to a percent. So let's talk about the first one. So you're going to find the percent of change. And the percent of change, it was 10, and it's now 25. So I'm going to do the new, which is 25, minus the original, which was 10, and I'm going to place that over the original, which was 10. And then I'm going to go ahead and do 25 minus 10 is 15, 15 over 10. All right, I'm going to get a fraction. If I want, right, I then can set up a proportion. 15 over 10 equals x over 100, and I can solve using the proportions that we know, or I can go ahead and just type in 15 divided by 10. And when I do that on my calculator, I get 1.5. That's a decimal. I need it as a percent. So in order to do that, I use what I know from the beginning of the chapter. And I know that 1.5 is the same as 150%. I've gone ahead and done the difference of the new minus the original over the original. I have done the division to get a decimal and move that decimal into a percent, or set up a proportion using the 15 over 10 equals x over 100. For the second part, it's 72 pencils to 63 pencils. So I'm going to go ahead and do the new minus the original, 63 minus 72, over the original. The original was 72. The difference between these two is this one's going to end up being an increase. I was at 10 and I'm going to 25. This is going to be a decrease. I was large and I'm going to small. Now for this unit, you can use a calculator. So hold on. And I'm literally going to go ahead and type in, I don't need to do that part, but 63 minus 72, I get negative 9 over 72. I could do this, but I can then go ahead and type it in as negative 9 divided by 72, and that gets me negative 0.125. I then change that into a percent, which is 12.5%. It's a negative, so it's a decrease. So in these two, new minus original over the original. This is a percent of error. So you're comparing what the estimate is versus what the actual is. So I use the same thing as the amount of error over the actual. So the estimate is 16 and the real is 21. That's a difference right there of 5 feet. So the amount of error is 5 and the actual is 21. I then go ahead and use my calculator, type in 5 divided by 21. I get 0.2380. So I then change that to a percent, which is, I'm going to say to the nearest tenth, because this was 80. And I say that the percent of error is 23.8%. I've done the new minus the original over the original for the percent of increase or decrease. Taken that fraction, changed the decimal into a percent. Percent of error, I've taken the amount of error over the actual. I've done the division to get a decimal, and then I've changed that decimal into a percent. Be sure you know this. Have a good one. Oh, don't forget, you're bringing your calculator every day. You need it for class. In addition to that, make sure you're starting and stopping throughout the video. If you have questions, you can write them on the side of your notes or send me an email. Have a good one.